The British East India Company, which ruled India for nearly 2 centuries, did not conquer India with armies first. It arrived silently as a trader, whispered into royal courts, divided the local powers, strangled economies, and waited patiently as control slipped away from within India. Slowly, the power shifted without a full scale war with India. Cut to today, many see echoes of that strategy in modern geopolitics, especially that of the United States of America. Nations that refuse to bend to Washington face mounting pressure where sanctions replace cannons, narratives replace soldiers, and internal unrest replaces open war. India's neighbours too, namely Pakistan, Nepal, and Bangladesh, are seeing this regime change pattern in recent years. Latest addition to Donald Trump's regime change playbook is the South American country of Venezuela. Rich in oil and fiercely independent, Venezuela stands where India once did. It was not invaded but surrounded, pressured, and pushed towards change from within. In this video, we look at how USA took over Venezuelan oil exports and also what should Tamil Nadu voters learn from such regime change patterns in the world. Hi, hello, vanakkam, namaskar. Welcome to POV World from Bharat YouTube channel, World through Bharat's lens. Now let's look at the Operation Absolute Resolve by the USA. In the early hours of January 3, 2026, a bold US military operation, which was dubbed Operation Absolute Resolve, targeted Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, resulting in the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Both of them were flown out of Venezuela and were brought to the US to face long-standing criminal charges. For a long time, Washington had been accusing Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro of running a drug trafficking empire and narco-terrorism network. However, these allegations were repeatedly denied by Maduro. In the final days of 2025, the US pressure on the Venezuelan president had reached a breaking point, with the US even doubling the reward money for his capture and also unleashed a campaign of strikes on the alleged smuggling operations in the Caribbean. On that cold January night, as Caracas slept, unknown to the people of Venezuela, the elite US Special Operations Forces, including elements from the Army Delta Force, had been inserted into the region. Above them, more than 150 American aircraft buzzed the skies, laying down strategic strikes and isolating air defenses of Venezuela. Venezuelan defense system was in no match to the mighty US Special Forces. With coordinated precision, US troops breached the president's heavily fortified compound and took Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores by surprise. Within hours, the once invincible leader of Venezuela was subdued. By early morning, a guarded helicopter carrying the deposed Venezuelan leader and his wife, who were blindfolded and bound, slipped towards a US warship named the USS Iwo Jima that sat in the international waters. Both of them were taken to the Federal Court of Manhattan later. Operation Absolute Resolve was carried out with uttermost precision and skill, with no American casualties, and also undeniably proves the genius military strategy and the military might of the United States of America. Venezuela has the world's largest proven oil reserves, estimated at 303 billion barrels as of 2023, more than 5 times the amount the United States has. And now, after Maduro's capture, US President Donald Trump claims his control over Venezuelan oil and is also urging American oil companies to invest in Venezuela. Now, the question that comes up is, does the military operation targeted the narcotic network or the Venezuelan oil? Only time will answer. But the next important question is, did the US military operation violate the international law and Venezuela's sovereignty or not? Leaders of Russia, China, and several Latin American presidents have condemned the use of force, saying it breached the UN Charter prohibition on using force without Security Council's approval. That is, a country has to get the approval of the UNSC, that is the UN Security Council, before arresting a sovereign head of a state. The US, though, in this case, did not care to inform the United Nations about its military operation on Venezuela. Legal experts also argue that removing a sovereign leader by force and bringing him to trial in the US courts is not legally justified under international law or the US law itself. Critics warn that this sets a dangerous precedent. That is, if powerful countries can militarily seize the leaders of weaker states to face charges, other nations might copy that behavior, thus undermining global norms. Some commentators point out the risk that this could encourage further military interventions rather than diplomatic solutions for problems. Inside the US too, Trump's opponents argue that President Trump acted without the approval of the US Congress for his military action. As the US Congress is supposed to authorize major uses of force by the US military, and this military operation did not have the approval of the Congress, some lawmakers also say that this could be grounds for impeachment or even legal challenge. Whatever said and done, neither the United Nations nor any human rights organization in the world is so powerful enough to challenge this operation by the United States of America. After Venezuela, Trump's next target is to acquire Greenland on the ground of national security concerns. Different strategies, but same goal, a regime change. India's neighbours, namely Bangladesh and Nepal, are also going through similar major political crises in recent years. While Bangladesh saw its Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fleeing the country after a major student protest, Nepal's Prime Minister had to resign after a violent and brutal Gen Z protests in Nepal. Though there is no solid evidence, such civil unrests in South Asian countries are claimed to have a bigger foreign influence, especially from the US, through aids and NGO support. In India too, various protests like the farmer protests and the CAA protests have been amplified and magnified due to foreign influence in an attempt to create similar civil unrest within India. But unlike other nations, India is a big country with a stone-hard leadership at the center. So, civil unrest in India in near future is an impossible one. Next, we look at what should voters from Tamil Nadu learn from such regime change events around the world. The recent regime change events happen in countries which are facing domestic, economic and political crisis along with declining national sentiments. While the economical and political part of the story in India have been taken care of by a stable leadership today, the national sentiment part is in question now. In Tamil Nadu, the political parties try to set a narrative that the central government crushes the powers of the state governments and also try to advocate for more powers to the state governments. through their propaganda of India is not a nation but a union of states, and advocating for a hypothetical Dravida Nadu, and also addressing the central government as the union government. That is, the current Tamil Nadu government addresses the central government as the Ondriya Arasu instead of Madhya Arasu. Such political parties in Tamil Nadu attempt to create an impression among the public that the central government is just a coordinating body for the states. Such attempts to dilute the role of the central government in the long run may lead to anti-nationalist sentiment rising among the public, which is not good for India as a whole. If a political party which advocates such anti-nationalist sentiments comes to power, it becomes vulnerable to foreign influence to enter India. The state of Tamil Nadu is going to elections this year when Indian neighbours are witnessing severe political unrest under foreign influence. As voters of Tamil Nadu, we should be wary of such political parties and we should vote wisely in the upcoming elections so as to uphold the nationalist sentiment in Tamil Nadu.